mir ist Lizzy von der Band Miss Mister aus den USA und sie spielt heute Abend im X, darum haben wir sie getroffen. Lizzy, how are you doing? How are you feeling?
I'm good. You know, I think it's been an emotional and challenging couple of days and past few hours, but happy to be back in Zurich. We haven't been here for a couple of years.
It's nice
only
to
our
hear.
Second show ever here, so we're pretty excited to be back.
It's nice to hear. Also es geht ihr gut, obwohl letzte Tage sehr aufreibend waren. Freut sich wieder in Zürich zurückzusehen. What happened? I saw that you played in Paris on Friday, where the terrible terrorist attacks went off. How did you experience that night?
That night was such a bittersweet night. I think that show for us as a band had been one of our favorite shows on the entire tour. Not had been, it is one of our favorite shows from the tour. It was just an incredible turnout, and everyone who was in there was super in it and enthusiastic about the music and love and passion for one another and for art. And it was a really, really great night. And then we just came off stage. I think about a half an hour later, we started hearing rumors and messages that someone had opened fire at another venue. Yeah. And after that, just one thing led to another, and it just got worse and worse. And we just bunkered down at the venue.
Okay. So you stayed at the venue?
We stayed at the venue, and it was us and the opening band and a few fans who couldn't get home.
Okay.
And it was nice to all be there together, you know, while they were in direct contact of sort of what was happening as it was unfolding. My phone, as I told you before, I dropped it in water an hour before we went on stage, so it was really hard to be so disconnected from home. My parents are trying to call and trying to tell everyone that you're safe. And it was horrible. It was really sad, and I mean, we left later that night when it felt a bit safer, and we got to Amsterdam, and I think it hit us much harder the next day.
Yeah.
You know,
it started to realize.
What it was, and it was a venue only 10 minutes away from where we were. Another American band. It felt like it could have been us, could have been our fans. You know, and such an act of randomness. Why them and not us? Made Amsterdam a very emotional, challenging show. But I think all you can do in these moments is move forward and keep playing and showing up and not being afraid to go to shows and not being afraid to play and reminding one another at a show that you're all there in it together and that it's about love and community and art and music, and that's what it should be.
Also eben, Miss haben am Freitag...
No,
it's alright. It's alright. I remember the bullet points, I guess. Also am Freitag haben sie in Paris gespielt, wo die schrecklichen Terroranschläge passiert sind dann in der Venue geblieben und haben aber erst am nächsten Tag so richtig angefangen zu realisieren, was eigentlich passiert ist. Und am nächsten Tag haben sie in Amsterdam gespielt, was sehr, sehr emotional war alles, und sie haben gefunden, sie spielen weiter, weil am Schluss geht es darum, weiterzumachen, weiter Musik zu machen und den Fans einfach auch die Musik zu geben. So, a lot of bands, they posted like political statements on Facebook, or some of them, they stopped their tour, Eagles of Death Metal. I mean, it's obvious that they had to stop. But like for you personally, do you think that art or music or musicians should be political, or you think that's like that can be or shouldn't be? Like,
I think to each their own. You know, if you feel like there's something that you need to stay or stand by or fight for, then absolutely, you know, use your platform as a way to get your message out. You know, for us, our message right now is let's keep supporting art and these communities, and let's keep playing shows, and let's give people the joy and distraction from the horrors of the world around them. And art is such a beautiful way of sort of touching on and discussing the politics of the world, and it's also an escape from it, and the two have sort of a beautiful and conflicting marriage. And
it's nice to put.
Thank you. And that's sort of how I feel about it during the show. And there is sort of I don't know, the shows are a little bit tainted right now, and I would be lying if I said that I didn't feel unsettled and emotional going through these next couple of shows, but I think it's the right thing to do for us, and I'm proud that we're going onward.
Cool. Also eben, sie wiederholt es einmal, dass es wirklich einfach darum geht, weiterzumachen, und Politik und Kunst haben so ein bisschen ein ambivalentes Verhältnis zueinander. Für sie geht es einfach darum, weiterzumachen und für Kunst, für die Musik weiterzumachen. So, you're here with a new album. It's called How Does It Feel, which I think fits the time that we're in now, right now. But in a lot of the songs, also from your former album, there's some, like, to the huge pop sound, there's some darkness,
Definitely.
dark sides in it. And I mean, I can guess where the big sounds and pop and happiness comes from. You're living in New York, a vibrant city. But I wonder, where does the dark side come from? Where does the melancholy come from?
I think that is just a very true and internal part of who Max and I both are as individuals, and I think we're both very good at, you know, putting on a smile and being the best versions of ourselves, but everyone has sort of inner demons, and there's something beautiful about tucking yourself away and having the music be a release for sort of, I don't know, that side of ourselves. I think Secondhand Rapture was much more angsty, and there was an element of sort of wallowing in its own misery. There's sort of, you know, a comfort in sadness and darkness. And I think a beautiful evolution of How Does It Feel is that it sort of acknowledges that side of our personalities and of everyone, but ultimately there's more of a sense of, I think, empowerment and hope and light at the end of the tunnel. And you're not there, you know, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, and you're not like over the hill yet, but you sort of see a way forward. And I think our song Painted sort of shows that better than any other song in the record, and was an important reason, I think, why we started with that as our first release to the world.
Alright, alright. Also eben, ihre Songs haben oft so ein bisschen eine dunkle Seite in sich, aber Lizzy sagt, das ist einfach halt auch ein Teil von ihnen. Sie sind mega gut im so Smilen und alles ist easy. You understand that, right? Also Smilen, alles ist easy, aber halt die dunkle Seite gibt es auch, und jetzt vor allem auf dem neuen Album ist die Seite auch nochmal durchgekommen, aber ein bisschen selbstbewusster und weniger ängstlich als auf dem alten. You are a co-founder of your own label. It's called Neon Gold Records. How does your role as a label owner influence your role as a musician? Are they like influencing each other?
It's interesting during the creative process of, you know, writing the record and being an artist. It doesn't affect it whatsoever, and it's really nice to have a completely different mindset, to be purely artistic and in touch with your own creative and emotional energy, and being sort of as true to yourself as possible. But I will admit that once the music is finished and Max and I have a sense of what the record is, it's incredibly helpful to have the experience and know-how of putting out other people's records and picking singles and creating a campaign and being hands-on with the marketing. And I think that experience with Neon Gold gave Max and me the tools to have a lot more ownership and control and confidence about what we were putting together. And it's exciting that in this day and age that we can control sort of every element of the project, both creatively and on the business side of things. I think the separation of those two things for other artists sometimes is what gets them into trouble, because their music or art gets taken away from them. And for us, I think actually it means that everything is more on topic.
Okay. Also Lizzy ist Co-Founder, also Mitbegründerin von einem Label, und sie sagt, es hilft vor allem, wenn die Musik fertig geschrieben ist, sehr, dass man überall kann mitbestimmen, mitreden, was genau passiert mit dem Marketing, mit den Visuals etc. Talking about visuals, what can we expect from your live show tonight? I see there's a lot of like pop art in your music videos. How do you transform that on stage?
It was definitely a challenge on the first record. You know, when we were first starting out, you're just a band grinding it out on the road and you're not making any money. But because when we started the band, we started, you know, completely anonymously, people didn't really know who was behind the music. And so there was something beautiful about the fact that we had created this sort of fantastical, candy-colored, psychedelic, surreal world online. And then at the shows, actually, it was a moment for us to strip it back and for us to sort of put our faces to the music for the first time, and for people to get to know the music through sort of our perspective. And now I think on this second record, we found a little bit more of a middle ground where it's still very much us front and forward, but we finally have a little bit more money to put into production and sort of bring the online world closer to the stage performance. And so we have this very, very cool infinity mirror in lights of our logo. Okay. And it's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful on stage. And we have an amazing lighting director with us. And it's very, very saturated, bright colored jewel tones. But while that's like flashy and fun and nice, there's still something sort of like sinister and brooding and mysterious under the music. So hopefully you feel drawn into our psychedelic universe.
Sie haben sehr viel Pop-Art in ihren Musikvideos und auf der ersten Tour war es ein bisschen schwierig, um das so auf die Bühne zu bringen, weil einfach ein bisschen das Geld gefehlt hat. Und jetzt auf der nächsten Tour haben sie mehr größere Produktion mitbringen, einen eigenen Lichttechniker und haben so einen riesen Spiegel, den sie aufstellen, wo die Leute so richtig reinzieht in ihre Performance. Lizzy, thank you very much
Thank you.
for the
Thank you
talk
for having
and
us.
good luck with everything.
Thank
I think
you.
you need it.